Welcome to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I am Beth Cooper.
I am Stacey Early Wine, and I don't know what to even say right now. I'm just hot.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't know what it would be like here at the studio because it's usually cold, but I must say that I'm a little.
I've been bringing a little light
know.
sweater to recording because we do film in a basement. A lot of times it's chilly down here. I have to say today is not too bad. I could have probably left the sweater at home.
Yeah. So it's hot. Where how's baseball going? Silas.
Oh, baseball is going really well. Silas has had some really good hits, and he's doing great.
Now, what team is he on?
He's on Rotary.
Rotary.
Mm-hmm. Okay. They're doing good. Yep, good team.
Good team, and he likes baseball.
Yes, he loves baseball. He's having a great time.
Yeah, I owe Silas some money.
Yes, you do, and
has he mentioned?
He has mentioned it. Stacey just got back from vacation. Silas took care of all of her flowers while she was gone, so he was over there daily watering. And there was a few days he couldn't make it, so I did it for him. But
is he going to split the profit with you?
No, but he knew Stacey was paying him, so he did a really good job.
He did a good job because I wasn't expecting. So I made this deal with him. I'm like, I'll give you this amount of money if you water my flowers for 2 weeks because it's hot. It's going to take 2 or 3 times, and I have a lot of flowers. I'm a flower girl, right? And then I was like, and I'll tell you what, if I get back and none of them are dead, I'll throw you an extra $25. I owe him the full amount.
Yeah. Well. Technically, there is one that's dead because not on the fault of Silas or myself, but something kept digging it up. And the first few days that I was there, I kept replanting it. And
that's fun.
And then one day I showed up and it had been pulled out way out into the grass, and it was really dried up, and I just threw it in the ditch. I'm like,
I'm out.
I'm done. I'm done replanting this flower, and it wasn't a big flower.
Which one was it?
Was
it one of them little?
One of those little red ones near the front of your house.
And they're not doing very good because I put stuff in there just to put a pop of color in.
Yeah.
And they weren't doing real well.
No, I mean they're alive. They're just not not blooming and spreading big. But
last year I did like marigolds, orange and yellow marigold, and those suckers went like mad. My impatiens go crazy, and those. But these other ones, I'll put these vincas in here, instead of just yellow and orange. I wish marigolds.
You should have done some more impatiens maybe instead.
Well, right there it's too hot. They get all that sun in that area. They won't. The impatiens are they don't like any sun at all.
Right.
But so I'll have to go back to my marigolds. I like all the yellow because then it takes me through fall.
Yeah, that's true.
Marigolds are hardy,
but whatever it was that kept digging up that plant also dug a big hole in your front yard.
What on earth?
I think it was a groundhog, maybe.
I don't know. Well, we were going through the car wash. Jack and I were the other day, and there was a silly groundhog right behind the car wash.
They're taking over.
What is the deal?
Jason, I don't know if I should say this on air, but Jason has killed some. Yeah. And he's also getting requests from other people to come kill theirs. Yeah. Because they're everywhere.
They're everywhere. And they're the ones that make you'll be walking and you'll break your leg.
Yeah.
Because there's soft spots in your my yard is hard as rock.
Right. In that hole that they dug up, it is like if someone were walking and not paying attention, they could totally trip right there and sprain their ankle or something.
Yeah.
So Jim will probably have to go back there.
Oh, gosh, he's going to mow today. Cracky. He'll probably hit that hole and throw that lawnmower through my front. Hopefully he's on that big honking rider, but so Jack's got a game. I think Jack's game, his last game is Friday, and it's just so funny. That T-ball is funny because there are some little bitty fellows on that team. Oh gosh, yeah. And they're so funny because I asked him because we missed some of the games because we were gone on that vacation. I said, "Well, buddy," I said, "how's it going?" "Oh, we won them all." "Oh, you did? You won them all?" "Yeah." "How many home runs did you get?" 38, according to Jack. He got 38 home runs. It's like, baby, how many games you played? 4. Okay, 38 home runs.
That works.
It works.
I'm glad he has confidence in himself.
And he's so funny because, like, my poor grandchildren, they're Jim and I are obsessed with them. The other grandparents and and Connor comes home whenever he can. So like literally Jack has his because Jim and I are going to be there. Ann and Darren are going to be there. Meg and Bryce are coming. Mac and Paige are coaching the team. Drew and Casey are coming. And like he comes out, like when Jack comes out ready to bat, he's like all the way because he's like, go, go, go.
All of his people are there.
All of his people.
All of his people.
Oh, yeah. And he has to slide. He has to slide.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. It's the greatest. That T-ball's funny. Some of them kids are absolutely hysterical.
Yeah.
But I did a really dumb thing, I think.
What'd you do?
I got a puppy.
Oh. Yeah. Tell us all about it.
Okay, well, so I was on the fence, right? Because I have my dog Sassy, my Shih Tzu that I had for 15 years, and she died a year ago. She's been dead over a year now. She died a year ago in March. And so Sassy's been gone, and it was devastating. And I loved having that little lap dog. Till we took her. She went with us everywhere. We went camping. She went to every one of Connor's football games. When Connor was playing at Greenville, and we would go to Minnesota and everywhere, his football team would be like, hey, Sass in the car. So we took Sassy with us everywhere. She went to Florida with us. I love that stupid dog. Well, she was 15 and she died. And so I'm like, not going to do it. Man, I miss having that little lap dog. So then somebody posted one. They had these puppies, a Smorky Poo or whatever, 2 little girls and 2 little boys. And I messaged her, and I'm like, I said, I'm really on the fence. I said, we're getting ready to go on this vacation. I said, I'm interested, but, if somebody desperately, you know. So I'm like, man, do I want to do this? I told Jim, because I have Saffron, my lab husky, which is 10 years old, which is Jim's dog. And then I have a corgi named Raptor. I got Raptor as a puppy, cutest. Those corgis are cute, right?
Super cute.
And I'm like, okay, but Sassy was still alive when I got Raptor. Jim was like, you might as well go ahead and get another little dog because you're going to want another dog after you. I'm like, no. But then I'm like, saw this. It was a brother to Jim's sister, Denise's corgi. So he was born in 2022 around in June. So anyway, so I brought him, and I love this little Raptor. Super cute little dog. And so, he would be in the house, and then at nighttime, we let Saffron out because she's an outside dog because she's ginormous. And we let Raptor and Saffron play. Then Jim would be like, come on, girl, kennel up. So Saffron would go in her pen, and I'd be like, come on, Raptor, let's go in the house. And he'd come in the house. Well, he would play with Sassy, but Sassy at this time was probably 13. She didn't want to have anything, 14 years old.
Right.
She was old and cranky, and, and he was a puppy. So and Jim was like, well, we'll just keep him, keep her up with you, and he'll do his thing. So this went on for 2 weeks. Finally, the last time, and I'm like, oh, okay, Raptor. So they're outside playing, him and Saffron are playing, and they're playing. Jim's like, come on, kennel up, girls. So Saffron does what she's told, and I'm standing at my back door, right? Raptor's in the middle, right behind the garage, right there in the middle of the yard. I'm like, come on, Raptor, baby, come on, come inside. He sits there, he looks at me, and he looks at Saffron. And I went, Raptor, come on, come in the house. He looks at me, and he looks at Saffron. And I'm like, Raptor, come inside right now. He looked at me, turned around, and ran into that dog pen with Saffron, and has been in that pen ever since. He
won't leave his friend.
He will not leave Saffron. They love each other. They sleep. They each have their own doghouse, but they sleep together. And my little Raptor, my little corgi, dissed me. So people are like, oh my God, you got a corgi and you're putting it outside? So I started doing research on corgis. They're outside dogs. They're herders. That dog doesn't want to be inside. It's a herding dog, and it gets fat and it gets thick, just like no different than Saffron, except for its legs are this big and he's this long. So So for your information, corgis are not inside dogs. They're not literally outside dogs.
I will have to say, I've been in your backyard a lot in the last couple of weeks, and your dogs were very happy every time I was there.
Oh yeah, because they missed us because they get out every night and they play. No, my sisters aren't comfortable. Linda might have let them out a little bit when they were feeding him, but they were without their parents for 2 weeks, so they were excited. So now they're back.
But they seemed fine. I checked on them, and they were fine.
They're good. They have each other. But yeah, so Raptor dissed me. So then I'm like, well, I kept looking on there to see if that little. So I finally said, Jim, I think I'm going. He's like, just get the dog. You want the dog, just get the dog. So anyway, so I called her, I messaged her and said, yeah, so I got the dog. I said, but I won't be back till then. So I literally get off the plane on Monday after 24 hours almost of traveling between time changes, and get my grandkids the next day. Roz Daniels gets dropped off, and a puppy.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Jet lag, 3 children. 2, 4, and 5, and a brand new puppy that was not thrilled with any of them. But and then last night, she's away from her mommy and her brothers and sisters, so
she cried.
There was some crying, and
so poor baby.
She ended up, I
she at home with Jim right now?
Yeah, Jim. She's in a kennel. I'm a kennel trainer, but so long story short, the dog is training me. Because she cried, so I got up and took her outside. She did her business. We came back in. She cried 45 minutes later. So I'm like, screw it. So she slept with me. I couldn't take it because I was like, no.
She was in your bed?
She was in my bed downstairs. Yep. Jim was upstairs. Jim was like, you going to bring her upstairs? I said, no, she'll keep you. I said, no, so I slept downstairs. She wasn't having it. She's only 2 pounds. She's cute. I'll take a picture of her and I'll bring a picture of her.
Yeah, bring a picture next time.
But anyway, so let's do a quick ad. Oh, what do I do with my glasses? Here they are. Let's do a quick ad and then we'll take a commercial break. Look at this one. Budweiser.
Oh, what a kiss
I got.
That night. What a kiss I got that night.
Isn't that the great? Okay, so look at
read that to us.
First of all, I love this. I mean, there's a super cute lamp back there.
Yeah, and that's her couch.
Yeah, and look at her cute shoes, and they've got their Budweiser beer. Okay, my husband was frantic when he came home from work. He had forgotten that this was the night the boys were coming over for poker. But I hadn't. There was plenty of cold Budweiser in the refrigerator to go along with my snacks. When they'd gone, he'd said even the ones who lost had a good time. Thanks to the good things to eat, the Budweiser, and your good memory. Actually, Budweiser reminded me when I saw it at the store. When I see Budweiser, I think of hospitality. Letting people know you think enough of them to serve the best. Budweiser, king of the beers. Where there's life, there's Bud. What a kiss I got. Is that not the cutest thing you've seen?
Yeah, that's super cute. And I love the red and the light blue and all of the colors.
The nightgown, and she got a nightgown, and of course her heels.
Yeah, her little night slippers.
Yeah, I saw that. That's from the 50s. I'd give anything to have that lamp back there.
Oh, yeah.
Which, by the way, I hope you and I get to go to some auctions this year.
I know. I guess there was a really good one like 2 weeks ago, and we missed it.
How'd we miss it? Well,
I don't know. But
how'd you miss it?
I don't know, but Craig and Becky Larch went, and they brought back some really cool stuff that they got for the Victorian.
Do they remember?
They probably told me, and I forgot.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and I don't know if we're frozen.
At your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville, you can count on experts to have the solutions to keep you running on the road or in the field. More than just your car, the Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville carry a large inventory of Napa products for farms, heavy trucks, and just about everything that moves. Experienced associates understand your needs and are ready to help with the perfect part at a great value. That's Napa know-how at your locally owned Napa Auto Parts stores in Flora and Louisville. Briscoe Surplus Sales on the northeast edge of Flora is your one-stop do-it-all shop. Looking for rugged boots and footwear from great brands like Lacrosse, Rocky, and Carolina? They're there. How about top-notch small engine parts and service? Briscoe Surplus Sales has it. Whether you're wiring your switches or switching your wiring, Briscoe Surplus Sales has the solution and the know-how to help you get the job done right the first time. Briscoe Surplus Sales, your one-stop do-it-all shop.
We like technology at Flora Savings Bank. Here's what you can accomplish in our mobile banking app in less than 30 seconds. See account balances in your transactions, set up an account alert, make a transfer between accounts, get an alert text message about your transfer, pay a bill, turn your debit card off and then back on. It all happens in the palm of your hand with our free My Bank to Go app. Search My Bank to Go in the App Store or Google Play and give mobile banking a try. Flora Savings Bank, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. Today we are going to talk about the Louis Valbert family, or perhaps it's Louis, L-O-U-I-S. I never know. Do you call that Louis or Louis?
Well, I don't know. Are you in St. Louis or St. Louis? I don't know. I think it could go either way.
It could go either way because I think some people have like French roots, and so it would be Louis.
Yeah. Well, it's funny that you said that because we were talking, when we were on that trip, one of the people was like, oh, and we came across this really pretty zebra. She's like, and the zebra, print, unless you're from America and you call it zebra, but it's zebra.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I know that
She was the English police like you over there.
Well, I knew that they said that over there because I watched a lot of Peppa Pig.
Oh, okay. And the zebra.
The zebra. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So, anyway, all right. So, I'm going to call him Louis because he was born in France.
We're going with Louis.
We're going to go with Louis on this one. Now, over the years, he might be called Louis. I don't know. But, so this Louis Valbert lived in a house that I think a lot of you will remember, and it was located on Blue Mound Road, just a little bit south of Flora, and it was near the road. And I actually have sent a picture of it.
Where did you find this picture?
I found some stuff at the Flora Library on this house. So this sat there for years and years, and it kind of fell into disrepair. I'm going to get into all that. Eventually, I think the city of Flora owned it for a while.
Really?
The porch, towards the end, the porch was torn off of it, and it was just like a big rectangle that sat there. And at some point, did somebody paint it gray?
They did paint it gray.
Yeah, it was like a big gray rectangle, and then eventually they tore it down.
I feel like it was one of those houses that became empty, and then like just people like rented it for a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like it kind of was a rent house, but it was actually had a ton of history that went with it. So that's what we're going to talk about today.
Good.
So you can take the piccure of the house down. We'll look at it again a little bit.
I've always admired that house.
So this Louis Valbert, he was a river pilot on the Ohio River, and he had been living in Shawneetown. He was born in France, somehow ended up in Shawneetown during the mid-1800s. He was actually born in 1829. So 1829, that's we're going way back.
We're going way
back. He was an original pioneer in this area, but he had lived in Shawneetown, and then he came to Flora in the mid-1800s. So in 1869, he purchased 380 acres south Flora on Blue Mound Road. So that would be where that house was. But he actually owned 380 acres around there.
I wonder when that road came in, because it was very close to the road. I wonder if that was usually those houses were back farther.
I know.
I wonder what that was, because it was close to the road.
Yeah, it was really close to the road. But guess how much he paid an acre back then?
Don't tell me. $6.
Nope, less.
$4.99.
Nope.
$2.50.
Nope.
50 cents.
More than that. $1.25 an acre is how much he paid for that 300 and what did I say? 380 acres.
380 acres.
At $1.25 an acre. So that was a deal.
Gosh. A lot of capital gains being paid on that now.
So Louis, he originally came in 1851 from Belfair, France.
Okay.
So if he was born in 1829 and then, I don't know, I'd have to do some quick math. 1851 is when he came over. Yeah. But he was a river pilot. So he
22 years old.
Traveled the Ohio River back and forth between here and Marietta, Ohio. And then he ended up marrying a woman named Maudlin Decker. Okay, so
Maudlin?
This is interesting because I thought that was an interesting name, so I kind of started researching her. Everyone called her Maudlin. Some of her kids, they ended up to have kids, and some of their grandkids were named Maud, I think in honor of her. But her name, they write it as Maudalin. But on her gravestone and on anything else I can find about her on findagrave.com, her name is actually Magdalene.
Ooh.
Magdelain. Magdalene is kind of like Mary Magdalene, but spelled differently. And but apparently she didn't like that, and apparently everyone called her Maudlin. Or maybe they had an accent, and maybe it sounded like Maudlin. But she was saying Magdalene.
Magdalene.
And they were just like, oh, her name's Maudlin.
Should be Magdalene. Magdalene.
That's why when I started researching their family line and stuff, I had questions of whether I had the right Louis Valbert.
Yeah. Because how did you even come across? I mean, where'd you?
I was at the Flora Library going through some old books, and I found this.
That's cool.
This more about that house, which was a house I'd wanted to cover,
right?
But I had never found the information on it. So. I did, and anyway, here we are.
Here we are. So I love it.
He married her, and we're just going to call her Maudlin or Maud, but technically I don't think that was her name. So Louis and Maudlin and her family all left Ohio for Shawneetown. So apparently he had met her in Ohio when he was going back and forth. He brought her and her family to Shawneetown with him, but on the route back to Shawneetown, they contracted cholera. Now, cholera is one of those diseases we talked about on the episode where we talked about how people died. And that is based, Google cholera, but I think it's based on bad water, CHOLERA.
Yeah.
I think they drank bacteria water.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're on their way back to Shawneetown from Ohio, just got married, gets super sick. Her dad dies, and then one of her brothers almost dies. In fact, they even... Contaminated water is what it is. They actually declared her brother dead, but I guess technically he really wasn't, and then he was revived. Yay! He's not dead. I mean, but the dad for sure did die. So it was very, like, a sad start to their marriage. But then they arrived in Shawneetown, and Valbert decided he wanted to hunt. And he wanted woods. And I don't know how he ended up in Flora, but he headed north to look for the right ground that had hunting ground on it. And ended up in Flora. I mean, so for those of you that aren't from this area that are watching from far away, Shawneetown is about as the crow flies, probably a solid 2 hours from Shawneetown, maybe 3. If he's walking north,
I'd say it's close to 3. Yeah.
So I mean, he just headed north.
And he just 2.5, 3 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. So anyway, he finally found his spot, and that was in Flora.
It makes you wonder because you're coming up, and at this time, what time did he come to Flora? 1860.
1850. Wait, where did I say that? Oh, I don't know what year he came to Flora. Yeah, because it would. Oh no, he purchased the land in 1869. 69. So Flora had been here a little,
years. 15 years, yeah. But that area wasn't being developed at that time. Not Blue
but
Mound.
He wanted hunting ground.
It would have been full.
He was a hunter. Okay, so it says that the house was built from bricks that were right there on the ground. Right there on the grounds, they had the mud or whatever to make the bricks. I'm going to get into that a little bit later because I have a little story about his brick maker. But it was an 8-room dwelling. And at one time, it was the showplace of Clay County. So this was the top-notch house in Clay County at the time it was built. And let's pull that picture back up again real quick because it says 8 rooms. And you can almost in your mind see them 4 up, 4 down. 1 in each corner on each floor, 8 rooms.
Only 8 rooms total.
8 rooms total. And I imagine that to be a straight hallway down the center would be my guess.
Gosh, wouldn't you love to go in it?
Oh, yes.
Maybe there's descendants.
Yeah. So Valbert had traveled a lot over the years because he was a river pilot. So he was able to furnish the home with treasures. He had lots of glass and metal items that he had collected over the years, which would probably be worth a fortune today. Now. Who knows where those things ended up. It says the house designed from the French plan has... Oh, here, I should have just read this part out loud. I knew I had seen that somewhere.
Before you go into that, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll come back and let you talk about that.
Okay, sounds good. We'll be back.
If you're looking for a loan for your brand new home, call Clay County State Bank. If you want to transfer money so your future will look sunny, call Clay County State Bank.
We got checking and savings and bill pay too.
An online bank, just ask our crew. For all your banking needs, we think you will agree. Clay County State Bank is the place you need to be. Clay County State Bank.
At Clay City Banking Company, we're all on the same team, regardless of zip code. At home, work, school, or across the country, you can be part of our team with our cutting-edge mobile banking products. From your hand, you can check balances, transfer money, make deposits, and pay bills. Looking for a loan? We've got you covered with our mortgage, agriculture, commercial, and consumer loans. Join our team today. Clay City, Flora, Louisville, and Fairfield Banking Companies. We're the hometown banks, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
Tomorrow. Some fear the uncertainty it brings. Some trust the promise it holds. At Grinnell Mutual, we are always looking forward to tomorrow, growing and innovating. So even if the plans you have for the future aren't the same as the plans that the future holds for you, you can be ready. Because we'll be ready, like we have been for over 100 years. Trust in that. trust in tomorrow. Talk to your mutual agent today.
Your local agent is on the square. Louisville, Clay County, Farmers Mutual Insurance.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. We're talking about Louis Valbert in his house that was south of Flora on Blue Mound that we all admired for many years and wondered about. I always wondered, what's the story there? What's the story with that house? And so the house did have one big center hallway that went from the front to the back. But in the front foyer, the walnut staircase, I guess, was really something. Ugh. And was a super big eye catcher, something that all of the guests that arrived at the house, as soon as they walked in the door, were like, oh, whoa, this is beautiful, and you can just almost picture this big hallway going straight through and then this huge walnut staircase.
Gosh.
Yeah. So Louis and Maudlin raised 2 orphan nieces and 6 of their own children there on this estate. Wow. And then Louis kind of operated a little bit of a farm there, and he employed a man named Joe Ricker. Joe Ricker was a one-legged man. I would guess, I'm going to guess he lost it in the war, in a war. But Joe's job was to run a brick kiln that was on the property southwest of the house. So southwest, so back off the road further and I would love to explore that area and see, is it still the right, like, did they get the stuff to make the bricks just right there from the riverbank? I would guess
I would guess that.
So is there still like good brick making soil there? I don't know. Don't you just take like a bunch of mud and you kiln dry it,
I think so.
And that's a brick?
I don't know.
Okay, so that's
You'd
where
think I'd know. My dad was a bricklayer.
Well, he laid them. He didn't build them.
He didn't build them, but he would have been able to tell me.
Yeah, so the bricks kiln was on the farm, and Joe Ricker ran the brick kiln. And those were the same bricks that were used in that house. He also, this part's extremely interesting, he also made the bricks for the old Catholic church building, which I don't think is the one that's still standing there. So it's a different building now. And for the old McKendree school building in Flora. So the old McKendree, the one that was like 2 or 3 stories.
Yeah, I love that.
That was
building.
really
That was
that school building. All of the bricks from those 2 buildings came from that same kiln.
Yeah.
So I think that's pretty interesting. I mean, you don't really even
think about that.
Us making our own bricks here.
No, my dad had to go to Cesar to get his.
Okay.
That's where he got all his bricks.
Okay.
Interesting.
So Louis Valbert had another interest, and it was a very common interest in this area because our part of the world was known for these orchards. Yes. So he was interested in making apple cider in the apple house. Apparently he had an apple house. He stored the apples partly under the ground, and then a man by the name of Nick Shepard helped him sort the apples to make the cider.
I wonder, did that house have a basement?
I don't know.
I would assume
it definitely had the apple house that was partly underground. I bet it had a cellar. It was more like a cellar where they kept their food. Okay, so we all know where the Catholic cemetery is.
Yeah.
Valbert owned that was part of his estate, part of his 380 acres. He donated the land for that Catholic cemetery. So he is the one that started the Catholic cemetery.
Well, okay. Did you see something somebody was asking about how on Facebook the other day?
Yeah, I think they just wanted to know the caretaker, didn't they?
Oh, okay, just caretaker, because I just assumed it was the Catholic Church. So I'm assuming he was Catholic.
He was Catholic, and that's where he's buried. And the Catholic Church does own that cemetery.
They do own the cemetery.
I think
if he's Catholic, he donated it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So he donated the land for the Catholic cemetery, and both him and his wife are buried there. And so if you search that cemetery for Valberts, there is no Maudlin that is buried there. It is Magdalene. So that kind of helps seal the deal that her name was really Magdalene. But, that really wasn't that uncommon back then for women to go by a different name than their legal name. Like my great-grandmother, everyone called her Molly, and everyone called her sister Annie. They were like, I want to say it's written down somewhere, but like in their early 20s. before they ever even knew that they had another name. And neither...
Oh, and they didn't even know it?
No, because no one had ever told them. No one had ever called them anything different than Molly and Annie. But actually, I think Molly's name... Don't quote me on this because I'd have to go back and look at my book. But I think her name was Mary Magdalene or Mary something like that. And Annie's name was something completely different. Neither of them were Anne and neither of them were Molly. But that's just what they called them.
It's funny that you say that because I don't know if I told you this. My mother was the oldest of 6 kids, and my mom's name was Dallas, and her younger brother, the next one right next to her, his name was Floyd. Dallas and Floyd, they're the 2 oldest of the kids, and they were kind of like really close, just a year or so apart, right? Well, and they were in Sailor Springs, and they were going to school, and everybody called them Sissy and Buddy.
Oh, yeah.
So they were Sissy and Buddy, Sissy and Buddy. So then my mom and Uncle Floyd are going to school, and they're like, okay, Sissy Franklin, Buddy Franklin. And Mom's like, no, my name's Dallas. She's like, oh, stop lying. My mother got in trouble at school because the teacher thought that her and Uncle Floyd were lying, that their names was Dallas and Floyd. If you're a little kid, would you make up the name Dallas and Floyd?
Yeah.
And they both got in trouble because they're like, no, your name's Sissy and Buddy.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
But, yeah, my mom's cousins, they were all like that. They all had nicknames.
Yeah.
And there was a Sissy.
Yeah.
And I can't remember all of them, but Mooney.
Oh, Moon. Yeah, Moon's a big one. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a bunch of them, and none of them went by their real names.
Well, my cousin Buffy, Buffy, the pharmacist in Chicago, her name's Barb. Her mother's name was Barbara. My mom's sister Barbara, and Barbara's name was Barbara Jane. Buffy's real name is Barbara Joe, but we've called her Buffy since she came out of the womb. I don't know where Buffy came from, but she goes by Buffy Smithy. And so weird to see her name tag. Like if I see her something and somebody's like, "Hi, Barbara," I'm like, but now she goes by Buffy.
Wow.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, whether you get those names. I don't know.
So here's another story about Maudlin. I guess she got a real sore finger. And so she called Dr. Suggett. He was the family physician, and he was in Flora, Dr. Suggett. And Suggett, okay? He was called out all the way to the home to check Maudlin's finger one day. So he made a house call, goes all the way out to the farm to check her finger, and it had turned black. Her finger was black. So the doctor took specimens of the blood to St. Louis and then came back to report that it was called dry gangrene.
What?
She had gangrene in her finger. She apparently had gotten a bad cut or something. It got infected or whatever. She got gangrene in her finger.
Yeah.
At that time, the cure was called
Cut it off.
Hood Sarsaparilla. It was a whiskey. Hood Sarsaparilla.
Nice.
That's the cure. That's the cure for gangrene.
Sure? Are you sure the cure wasn't here? Drink this whiskey sarsaparilla, then we're going to whack it off?
This is how the story goes.
Okay, I want to hear this
After
story.
Maudlin diligently took her medicine, the poison was driven out and the finger dropped off clean as a whistle.
The finger dropped off?
Clean as a whistle.
So she lost it.
She lost her finger.
She lost the finger because I'm telling you what.
When it turns black, it's going to go.
It's not going anywhere. And I'm telling you what, it probably didn't fall off. They probably when she was
passed out drunk.
When she was on the wine, the beer, the whiskey.
Yeah. She diligently took it.
Diligently. I like
it. Had to have hurt really
I like
bad.
Magdalene. She sounds like my kind of gal.
I think that would be very painful. But anyway.
It would be horrible.
And the finger dropped off clean as a whistle. That's in quotes.
Slick as a whistle. That's funny.
Yes.
Well, I mean, sorry. Well, I mean, it's not really funny. But
yeah. Yeah. So Louis Valbert died in 1914. Or no, sorry. Maudlin died in 1914. Louis died in 1916. And then they had a daughter named Clara, and she is who inherited it. Okay. And she lived in it for a long time, and then she passed it on to her nephew. His name was also Louis Valbert. And then in 1946, a man by the name of Orville Hargrave.
No, that name sounds familiar.
Okay, he was one of Albert's grandsons, Orville Hargrave, and he is the one that was like the caretaker from then on. He purchased the homestead from the Louis Valbert, and Hargrave was a retired railroad conductor, and he lived there until 1972.
Okay.
And then he sold it to the city of Flora.
Oh, that's why.
I don't know why, but
that's weird.
While he lived there, Hargrave was awarded the Centennial Farm Award in October 1972. Those are awards given out by the state of Illinois Department of Agriculture for homesteads that have stayed in the family for 100 years or more. Have you seen those at different farms?
Yeah.
It's usually like a round thing in the yard, and it's like a centennial farm because it's been in the family for
years.
So long. So here they have this centennial farm. Hargrave has it, and so proud of it. And then he turns around and he sells it to the city of Flora. And I
wonder what he's. Why would the city buy it? What year did that happen? 1972? Yeah, I think that's what you said.
Mm-hmm.
72. I got to make a note, people, because I got to figure. We need to do some more investigation.
Do you think that he thought the city was going to care for it and eventually it was going to become like a Charlie Brown Park kind of place?
I don't know. But he should have been more like Minnie Brown.
Yeah, I don't think he planned it out really well. And I don't think the city owned it for very long because not long after that it turned into like a rental property or something.
Huh.
So I need to know, as the Harvey, what was his name, the rest of the story?
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't know the rest of the story there.
Louis Valbert's house. Okay, okay. Yeah, we're going to have to do some. How would we find that out? Why?
I don't know. We'll have to dig on that one. So,
yeah.
So Louis and Madeline, they had several children. They had Joseph Valbert. He was born in 1855, so that was just 1 year after Flora got started. He only lived a few months, I think. He was just a baby and he died. Then we have James Valbert, and then he had some daughters, Mary Valbert Hargrave. Okay, this is where the Hargraves kind of passed through from her line. And then we have Florence Valbert Klein. So there's some Kleins that are still around in town. Okay, they might have a connection there. And then there's Martha or Maddie Valbert Ritter, and she had a bunch of kids too, all Ritters. And then another boy, John Lowry Valbert, and the last one of their children to die died in 1956.
So they're not related to the Valbert feed people.
So I meant to talk to Cindy Valbert and kind of clarify that, but I can find no connection between this Valbert line and then the Valbert line that runs the store here in town. I talked a little bit about that Valbert family in a cemetery tour. That Valbert family was the main patriarch of that family was Francois. He was also from France.
French.
They are all buried at Elmwood. This line is all buried at St. Stephen's. And unless they are somewhat of a distant cousin, like way back, like Louis and Francois were distant cousins, that's possible. I just can't track it in my tracker with the family lines. I haven't been able to find it yet. That doesn't mean it's not there. They could be cousins. When you go back that far, not everything's recorded.
Wonder who owns it now.
I don't know. I should have looked that up before we started talking about it.
Well, that's one of those things. We could just go to the courthouse and see the deed.
Yeah. Well, there's actually a website we could pull up.
Oh, there is? Okay. I'm interested in that. But maybe he did. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe he was thinking. Because the city would never do anything with it. Because where does city limits even go? How far does city limits go out down on Blue Mound?
I would say to Elmwood, and that's it.
Me too. That's what I would think too.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
But anyway, it sounds like an interesting feller, and I just, when I hear the name Valbert, I just expect them to all to be the same bunch, and I'll have the feed store, and but I just, this one was different. This was a different branch, if they are connected, a different branch for sure. So, anyway, and it explained that house that I've always been curious about.
Yeah, I've always loved it. I've driven by it many times, and I've always loved it. And one day wanted to go in it, and then it just got run down. But like those houses were just built to last forever.
It stood for a long time.
It stood for a long time. Like the houses they. Yeah, I don't know, but yeah, I've always admired, and it was that red brick, and it was beautiful.
Yeah, it was a beautiful home, but I do feel like over the years it kind of got a little creepy looking.
Oh, it definitely got creepy looking.
Yeah, because it was kind of situated between two different cemeteries, and it was like run down, and it kind of
make it better.
It was real tall, and if it was getting dark out,
Ooh. Yeah, right on my alley. But we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we'll come right back.
Do you bowl like this? That's great. Do you bowl like this? That's great too. That's because whether you're a pro or you just want to have a lot of fun, at Pegel's Silver Dollar Lanes, we have a lane for you. We have galaxy bowling, gaming for kids and adults, Joe's Pizza, a full bar, darts, pool, and fresh and clean bowling shoes. Boy, does that smell nice. So come on down to Pegel Silver Dollar Lanes in Effingham, where we have a lane for you.
My name is Robin Stanford. I own Stanford Marketing. It's a promotional products business along with an embroidery business. And we do custom hats, t-shirts, anything, you name it, we can make it. People like that we do stuff in-house and we can actually make things here and that we're not contracting the work out to other places. We never say no. We always try to find a way to do it. If anybody can do it, we can do it. We are hardworking women, that is for sure. Come to Stanford Marketing in Flora for all your custom and promotional needs.
Jimmy ordered lumber, doors, paint, windows, electrical, plumbing, and much more. Oh yeah, Jimmy ordered guns too.
John Lucas,
What?
you better be dreaming about all the stuff we sell here at Zink Building Center.
Oh, I would. Zink Building Center in Louisville on Route 45. It's a cool place.
Welcome back to By the Way with Beth and Stacey. I'm Beth Cooper.
I'm Stacey Earlywine, and Beth just filled us in on the house, the big brick house down on Blue Mound that we've probably all driven by hundreds of times and didn't know anything about it. And now it's gone, unfortunately, but it was a big, beautiful home. I've always loved it. It's funny that you made the comment about, how it kind of got, dilapidated,
yeah.
And it kind of got a little creepy because I got a creepy, and you said between two cemeteries. I have a little bit of an unusual story from my trip.
Oh, okay.
When we went, and we were in Mykonos, Mykonos, Greece, and it's an island. And the tour lady was telling us about, and it's very Orthodox. There are some Catholics, but mostly Orthodox.
Okay.
She was telling us a story because I was like, there's no cemeteries on these, because I was kind of like, I have a TV show called By the Way with Beth and Stacey.
What do they do over there?
No cemetery. This is very interesting. The Orthodox, when somebody dies, they bury the body in a box. It's not embalmed. Nothing. It's just in a box, a decaying box. So they do bury it.
What's the box made out of? Is it a cardboard Amazon box?
What
are we talking about here?
Some sort of pine, creepy, box.
Okay.
And they're not embalmed.
Okay.
Then after while they're in the ground, family members and people that work in that area for the cemetery walk on it to keep it irrigated, so that the rain, when it does rain there, that it gets in and seeps down into the ground onto the body. Okay, so they keep every day. They go and make sure it's getting irrigate. Is that the word?
Aerated.
Aerated.
Okay.
So that it rains down. After 3 years of the person being dead, the oldest female of the family digs up the body, the bones, cleans the bones, cleans the bones, and then puts them in a tinier box, and then they're stored in basements of churches.
So that is how so I'm trying to think of the word, but like underneath Paris and there's the catacombs.
Yep.
And they have all the bones that are in there in these hallways. You don't know about catacombs, Google it. And all these catacombs. And I'm like, how did they do this where where it wasn't just stinking, rotting bodies. Bet that's how.
That's how. And then, because then when the body decayed, because it fertilized the soil, because the soil, it just, basically they literally mean the body decays, goes back to the earth.
Yeah, ashes to ashes.
No ashes, because cremation's illegal.
Okay, but still,
if you're Orthodox, Orthodox, cremation is completely, divorce is illegal, and cremation is illegal. Now the Catholics on the island go ahead and cremate, and then people keep those remains because there's no cemeteries. Yeah, I thought that was the craziest. But
so underneath their churches, are there catacombs? Is that what they call them?
I'm assuming that's she just said that the church.
And I have so many questions.
She says the church stores the. It was only an hour or two or so.
Do they store them in rows to where they're numbered and you're like, oh, Susan's over there, she's E12 and you can go find her? Or are you just thrown in with others and you never know where Susan is again?
I don't know, but that would be something cool. Mykonos Cemetery or Mykonos dead body places where they're at. I couldn't get past the fact that God help you if you're the oldest living. Could you imagine?
What if you're 98 years old and you're the oldest? You got to go out there and dig up a dead body?
The oldest female. The oldest female, of course. The oldest female.
Well, that's because a man couldn't handle it.
And cleans it. And I'm like, and we're all just like stunned, right? Like, and we're just sitting there. And I said, this is a really dumb question. I already know the answer. So I'm assuming you don't embalm, right? Because you're not. And she's like, nope, no embalming. He's very. I said, well, if it's, Saved by the Bell. That's why when they bury these people, because some people aren't dead. Years and years and years ago, that's what Saved by the Bell, Dead Ringer, Night Shift, all those come from people hanging out you've heard about all that, right?
Yeah. You put a little string in the box or the coffin, and that way if they wake up, then they move around. Ding, ding, ding. The bell ringer. The bell is above the ground. They would hear them and go dig them up.
Dead Ringer, Saved by the Bell.
And that's what would have happened with Maudelin's brother that died, almost thought he died of cholera.
Yeah.
I wonder. Hopefully they didn't have him buried yet.
Yeah, that's a night shift. That's because you would do the night all night because people would sit out in the cemeteries. Down there where Sam White's grave's out there, there's still a bell.
Yes.
In that one area.
Yeah.
Yeah, but could you imagine being there on a windy night?
No.
And all the bells in the cemetery. But I don't think
the area that Sam White's buried in is the oldest area of the cemetery, and it is little. I love it, but at the same time, at night, it is a little bit like spine tingling.
Yeah,
like you're kind of feeling a little weird.
Yeah, since we're talking a little bit about cemeteries, I do believe let's talk a little bit about shadows.
Yes.
Let's talk about shadows.
Shadows of Elmwood this year. It's going to be so darn good. I can't wait.
So, Jessica sent me, who I'm going to be. So, come on, lay some. You know more information than I do.
So this year is the best of. Last year, after the cemetery tour, you had the opportunity to vote for your favorite skits that you've seen over the last 10 years. The votes were in, the votes were counted, the votes were processed, and it is going to be amazing. It is the best skits.
Is it really best ones?
Yes.
How many? Do you know how many was I voted on in?
All of them, Stacey.
I figured mine have to be some of the best ones.
Yeah, yours were actually, and that made it a little difficult because some skits, the actors were. You can't have actors in more than one skit, but they might have gotten voted. So, there might be a few skits where we might have to recast. I'm not sure how she did that.
How did they?
But
how many skits we got this year?
I
love the cemetery tour.
I think there are actually 11. We usually do 10. But the votes were tight, and I think that we threw in one extra, but there's going to be 3 at the depot.
Okay.
8 at the cemetery. That way, you have to keep it 8 at the cemetery to keep it flowing and stay on the track of, time wise.
Now, I don't remember because I couldn't get a lot of service over there, but I think she just tell me, I know who I am and I know who Jim is. Is it secrets? We're not telling
Yeah, it's secrets. So the actors that are going to be in it know who they're playing. They know the storyline. But as always, we try not to reveal too much about Shadows of Elmwood because if you already knew the story when you got there, it wouldn't seem very interesting. Now, would it?
No.
So
we want you to go, ooh, I loved this one. Because I have a feeling there's going to be, because I'm still shocked because this is 15 years?
I think it's 10.
Is it 10?
It seems like 20.
It seems like a lot. I thought maybe
I think
it was
it's actually
15.
10. I think there was a year where there was, COVID. There was no.
Oh, that's right.
Maybe that's screwed up.
Remember.
I don't know, but
I love them. I'm hoping that some of mine. So, did we have a lot of people get interested in vote?
Yes, a lot of people voted.
Really? I didn't know how that would work.
A lot of people voted.
How did that work anyway?
I think it was an online. I think you went and just. I didn't actually vote. I don't know.
I didn't vote because I didn't know how to do it.
No, it was a. They might have had. I don't even think they had paper at the cemetery last year. I think it was on the back. It just said "Go here and vote."
Probably one of them little things that looks like all checkered and weird.
A
yeah,
QR
Jessica
code.
was like, "Oh, here's your." I'm like, "Jessica, really?" She's like, "Oh, who am I talking to?"
Yeah. But I do think that there were a lot of people that didn't vote and didn't know how to vote. But that's okay because the ones that were voted for really are really excellent stories. And I think there's a little bit of talk about some of the ones that were really high up on the list of votes but didn't quite make the cut is to maybe throw in one older, now that it's been 10 years, every year maybe throw in one that has been done before. Still have new ones, of course, but maybe throw in one of the best.
Problem at all.
Especially if it's been 10 years since it's been done. My gosh, people don't remember.
No,
people don't remember the
remember
details. I know the story. I'm going to do this year for the cemetery tour. Do I remember all of my lines or details about it? Heavens, no. I mean, it's kind of new to me again too. So,
it's going to be new to me. Mine is, but I'm super pumped.
So
it's one of my favorites.
Shadows of Elmwood Cemetery Tour, September 8th and 9th, I think. Ty, check that. Make sure that's a Friday and Saturday night.
It's always the second Saturday, right? Friday and Saturday night.
Friday and Saturday night. September. Tickets usually go on sale about 3, but the wagons don't start going until 5. You can purchase as long as there are people in line.
They'll let you go.
They will let you go through. So some nights we are out there until really early in the morning.
13th and 14th are the Friday, Saturday for September.
What's the weekend before that?
6th and 7th. That's the first week.
Oh. So what does September 1st fall on?
Sunday.
A Sunday.
Okay, we're working on the dates here.
Okay, yeah, we want to definitely not give out any because you probably have all the information.
Yep, that's right. So
I'm super pumped about it. If you've never come to the Shadows of Elmwood. It's not scary. It's historical and it's wonderful.
That's right.
Everybody that goes through be like, oh my God, this was the first time. How many years have you been doing it? Well, like a bunch. And they're like, I can't believe I missed them.
Yep.
So I believe we could repeat a lot of them.
Oh right, yeah, and it is September 13 and 14, 2024. Be there, be square. It's
September 13th and 14th.
Yes, and it's always you learn so much about Clay County about and while you're waiting in line, even though the line might seem a little long, it's almost like Disney World, whereas there's like performances while you're waiting in line. So you might be in a queue, but there's things going on. So there's people there also portraying historic people from. Clay County.
I'm gonna have to like when we leave. I'm gonna have to do some guessing because everybody's good. I mean, a lot of the same cast members. Everybody's good to go.
Yep.
Yeah, because it's really not. It's not like doing the nostalgia show. The nostalgia show we have weeks of practice because you're putting on a play. Yeah, you just get your stuff and you're ready to go Friday and Saturday night.
We have one practice for the cemetery tour.
One practice.
It is the night before, and it is just really a read through and to kind of nail down your lines and your props with your people that are in it with you. It's up to the actors to bring a prop if there is even a prop to be had. I like to put down like a garden rug or like a little because it keeps the bugs off of you. Yeah. You'll notice I'm always on a rug.
Oh my gosh, the very first ones we did. Oh my gosh, I was with Ben and Jill Van Heining, and it was miserable because we were in that cemetery till 1:00 in the morning. Friday night we froze to death because it was freezing. And then Saturday night.
No, it was opposite. The first night it was super hot where we were dying.
Eaten alive.
Yes. The next night it was freezing cold. We all needed coats.
And that's the time back. We didn't have chairs. Remember, we stood the entire time. We didn't have props. We didn't have anything. And it was miserable, but we all keep coming back for more. Then the next year I was at the depot. But even, I don't even think it was till like that third, maybe that, I can't remember what I was the third year, but
I brought a lawn chair after the first year. Oh. The first year I had a rocking chair because it was part of my scene.
Right.
Then every year after that I brought a lawn chair, and then they kind of started being like, "Oh, we'll put some chairs out for people," and it was just something they kind of had overlooked.
Yeah, I from that time, from after, even like when I was in the cemetery doing the lady, one of the ladies that I portrayed, I stood that whole time. I'll have a chair. It'll be different because I've been at the depot a couple times.
Yeah.
And we have chairs to sit down because it's just too much.
It's to be on your
those
feet
actors,
that long.
we get out there at that cemetery an hour before,
right?
So we're sometimes those first 2 years we were standing from 4 o'clock to 1 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, it is exhausting, and then on top of that, trying to remember your lines and also not drinking a lot of water because you don't want to have to run to the bathroom because it's too far away. But also you're very thirsty because you're talking constantly. So it's a real balance, and I'm not complaining. I'm just saying, just kind of giving you an insight.
Did you ever have a time where like something happened on the wagon and you were like, we got a little bit. What happened to you?
I am all for breastfeeding. I breastfed my own children. I'm good with breastfeeding. I respect mothers that breastfeed.
I love it.
But however, there was one mother, and I don't know who she is, and I don't know if she's watching, and I don't care.
That fed that baby twice.
She was in the front row, and she pulled up, and she basically didn't have a shirt on at all. It wasn't like, and the baby wasn't really on either side at the moment. Everything was there. And there was no blanket to try to cover herself. And as a breastfeeding mother, if I had a baby on one breast, I would try to keep the other side was still pinned up kind of, or I'd put a blanket over. I was a little bit more like,
yeah. So I had a breastfeeder too.
And it wouldn't have bothered me if the baby had been up there and I hadn't really seen anything. But seriously, like this woman pulled up, and it was just the baby was down here by her belly, and everything was just there, and she was just sitting there waiting on me to start talking. And I'm like, that's not what I expected to see. It threw me off. I stumbled on my lines. I'm not going to lie.
I stumbled on that. I had a breast. I bet it was the same one. I had a breastfeeder, and then the other one, it was starting to get dark. Like literally, like there was a change from the light to the darkness with me. And then we'll have to go after we get done with this real quick. But anyway, and then everybody gets up and they stand. They look to me. There's this really tall guy, and he's got a black shirt on, and it's Marilyn Monroe. Da-da-da-da. I'm like, oh, so cool. So I'm just like, okay, so hi, I'm, whoever I am, blah, 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 blah. And it got darker and darker and darker. And the more it got dark, that shirt started glowing. And Marilyn Monroe's, the darker it got and the more glowing it got, her face melted off and turned into a skeleton. And I'm like, because I'm like, oh, super. Oh, I love dudes that like Marilyn Monroe. So this is in my head. So I'm like,
what's happening? What's happening with the shirt?
And I'm buried.
Oh my gosh.
I'm buried right here.
Oh my gosh, that is too funny.
We gotta go.
Oh gosh,
we don't have time for
this was a fun show.
It was fun.
So thanks for joining us, and we will catch you next time.
God bless you, and have a great day.